From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast. And I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you? What new challenges did you encounter? What failures did you go through? And more importantly, though, what lessons did you extract from that failure? Now, I hope you let yourself off the hook, by the way, if you had a failure. But if you're new here, as I said, my name is Chris Terrell, and a little bit about me. I lost 125 pounds, and I have been keeping it off. But first, I preceded that with a lifetime of up, down, yo-yo dieting. I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got my act together, and I took my sweet time. Over 2 years to lose the weight, and then intentionally maintaining it for over 2 years. Y'all, I've been doing this now for a while, so if you're looking for advice from somebody that's been there, you're in the right place. If you're looking for advice from somebody that's never had to lose a pound in their life because they've always been fine in this area and they learned about your struggles in a book, well, you might want to go find those people somewhere else because you're not going to find that here. Here we're going to talk the real stuff, the stuff that I didn't hear people talking about when I was losing weight. Some of the stuff I had to learn it the hard way, piecing it together like so many before me have done as well. And I was fine with following everybody else's trail of breadcrumbs because remember, success always leaves clues. Success always leaves clues in its wake. And I was looking for the clues, the breadcrumbs to take me to where I wanted. And as I've said before here in the podcast, I made the decision when I got to the other side or about halfway through the journey. It's like, screw this. I'm leaving whole loaves of bread. Screw breadcrumbs. Now I'm making like neon signs and billboards saying, hey, come over here, this way, come on, we got this. And so I wanted to talk about something today that I just didn't see as a loaf of bread. It was just breadcrumbs, and that was hunger. Hunger is such an important thing, y'all. I know you don't want it to be. I remember being where I was and first hearing about this hunger business, being like, I can't just only eat when I'm hungry, because if I only eat when I'm hungry, I'm going to turn into 475-pound version of me. It's honestly what I thought I'd think. Because to me, I just thought anytime I felt like I wanted food, felt like I could have food, felt like food would fit in my stomach, that meant I should go eat. If I wanted food and I thought, will some fit? Therefore I'm hungry. Well, and if I ate every time those conditions were met, I would just keep eating. Here's the funny thing I've realized about learning anything in life. When you are but a newbie, but a young Padawan embarking on a journey to learn something, you don't even know what it is you don't know. Often I have realized in my life, whenever I've had a riddle that I'm trying to solve and I start talking to experts, I have found they have almost always given me the simplest, purest, most direct version of the answer, usually within the first handful of minutes of talking to them. They would just give me the purest answer. But of course, I as a newbie don't understand any of it. I don't know what they mean. Like when I tell you, when a person says, Chris, how do I lose weight? It's like, eat less, move more. I mean, that is it, y'all. That is the answer. There you go. I have told you everything you need to know about weight loss. But of course, when I say eat less, which is super easy for me to say, I know what that means. Eat less. When I say move more, I know what that means. And so when a new person comes in, they say, well, wait a minute, eat less of what? How much less? How often do I eat less? Do I get to have cheat meals? And it's like, okay, we're going to spend the next 2 years me explaining what eat less means. And I got to be honest, sometimes this comes down to our own resistance, our own mind pushing back. I deal with this all the time. I have always, for a large part of my career, I've been in a leadership position. For a large part of my career, I've usually been in a more of authoritative position. And as a result of that, I developed a really bad habit of not listening very well. I developed a bad habit of talking more than I listened. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy talking, but I really needed to do a lot better with listening. And when I first started realizing that was a problem, I started trying to work on it. And it was really hard. It was really hard. I would do things like when I was having a conversation with somebody, I'd be like, okay, stop interjecting. So wait for them to stop talking and then tap on your fingers to 5 times. And I was like, and then when you get to the 5th tap, you can talk. And I'm like, okay, stop talking. All right, you're going to stop talking. And I'm like, no, stop, just wait, listen. Like, and then I'd get in like, oh, they stopped talking. 1, 2, 3. And they started talking and I'm like, oh shit, mid count. Wait, no. It was so difficult for me to just make myself slow down and listen. I had to really work on it. And it's something that I'm still to this day working on. I only discovered this problem consciously, like had it really, my nose was rubbed in it about 4 years ago. And I have been for 4 years working on this skill of trying to become better at listening because I realized I wasn't good at it. I realized I didn't even know what it meant to listen. I didn't even understand what that meant. I thought that meant hearing the words they said and preparing my response. That's not what listening means. Yes, I need to respond, but that's step 2. Step 1 is listen. How do I listen? How do I hear? How do I understand? How do I hear the story behind the story? How do I learn to hear the message the person is trying to convey to me in their best possible way using vocabulary? And I'm talking about this as an example because listening is something that is very, like, I'm here trying to describe it to you, my journey of trying to get better at listening, and I am struggling. I don't feel that I am adequately expressing the challenge it has been sometimes, but I don't even know how to adequately express how I'm better. I can tell that after 4 years of working at this, I am so much better at listening than I was before. I'd like to be even more better, but I have improved so much. And I have a hard time even explaining to you what that means. Like, what does that look like? I mean, the only way I know to do it is you and I got to sit down and have a conversation. Like, we have to talk and you can watch me listen. Like, I can describe it all the time, but at this point, I just sort of intuitively do things now. I'm trying to take something that's intentional and convert it to intuition, but I'm trying to replace something that is intuitive. And it's a big challenge. My intuition is just to start talking. And I've been overriding that with a new one. And what we're going to talk about today for you is hunger. I have realized that working on hunger and working on listening are actually very similar things. Because it's about learning how to hear the chatter within, how to feel and sense the signals that your body is sending to you, your mind is sending to you, and then learning how to respond to them in a controlled manner. And I've had direct conversations with hundreds and hundreds of people about hunger. I have yet to find anybody that experiences it identically. There's a lot of crossover, there's a lot of similarities, but it's always a little different. And even within the same person, hunger doesn't manifest in all the exact same ways in the exact same time. There's a seasonal change to it even. Like, as the weather changes, our hunger changes. As your sleep cycle changes, your hunger changes. As your exercise and movement changes, your hunger changes. Depending on what you ate impacts the hunger you see later. Everybody experiences it in their own unique way. So how do you teach someone how to learn to listen to their hunger when I know I don't experience hunger in the way that the person in front of me does? I know there's crossover, but it's different. And that person doesn't experience it the way I do. How do you learn that? You have to learn it through something called experiential learning. Hands-on. Some things can only be learned through the doing. There is no amount of reading books, listening to podcasts, talking to friends, coming into my community, engaging with others. There is no amount of that will ever take the place of just waiting for your hunger to show up and listening and going, oh, okay, I think that might be hunger. Let me write some of this down and let me see again later. But let's not eat yet. Let's see if it builds. Let's study what my hunger feels like. And I'm going to use words on a piece of paper that probably won't mean much to anybody else, but they'll mean a whole lot to me. Because when I write rumbling in my stomach, that is just what I am calling the sensation that I am experiencing. Somebody else might be saying rumbling in my stomach, but I would call it a gurgle in my stomach, right? Because I gave a different word to a different sensation. But I don't need to convey it to someone else. I need to convey it to myself. And that's how it's going to work for you with hunger. You're just going to have to study yourself. You're just going to have to go out there and get a little hungry and listen. Just listen to you. And then explain it to yourself as best you can what it is you're noticing. And then go eat some food and see what happens. And then you go to christerrellcoaching.com, scroll down and join his free Facebook group. Oh, right. Y'all thought I forgot. I didn't forget. Of course not. I want to invite you to come join my free Facebook group. All right. If you're not already a part of that, you're missing out on one of the best weight loss community Facebook groups out there. I go live on there every Monday morning at 9 a.m. I'm not doing that this coming Monday, though, because I'm getting married. So sorry, y'all. Out of luck on that one. But I will see you the following Monday. I want to see you in that Facebook group. If you're not in the show notes, you'll find a link to it. You can tap on it and I'll let you into my Facebook group. Love to see you there. Okay, let's get back to the hunger thing. So as you're going along on your journey, you're going to need to acquire the skill of being able to listen to your hunger. You're going to need it. You see, a lot of people are telling you how to lose weight, but now I get the joy and the privilege of not only telling you how to lose weight, I get to talk to you about how you keep it off. And so one of the things I am always looking for are what are the things that I do still now that I started doing when I was losing weight? As in, I wasn't doing them when I was fat. I started doing it when I was losing weight and I've never stopped. As an example, exercise. I was not exercising at all, like ever, before I started my journey. Now, I still exercise. I started exercising in the beginning of my journey. I still exercise now. I have had an unbroken chain of exercise. I have done lots of different kinds of exercise. I've had different focuses, different goals. I've changed up my exercise. But the category of exercise, I have done it. I've not stopped. I still do it. I do it way more than I did before, but I still do it. Whereas eating in a calorie deficit, I did that when I was losing weight. I don't do that now. I don't need to because I don't need to be in a calorie deficit for a long period of time. So I don't worry about it. Well, one of the things that I started doing on my journey that I still do to this day is I started learning about my hunger. I started learning what it meant to be hungry. I started learning about the 4 kinds of hunger. I started learning about all of the skills of hunger that I needed to learn how to acquire. I teach about all these in the Guild, but one of the ones as an example is you must possess the ability to be very hungry and be in the presence of food and not eat it. I'm not saying you need to do it. I'm just saying you need to have the ability. You need to prove it. So you got to practice. Nuts, right? It's not anything crazy. Here's the exercise I would give people on it. What you do is when you're hungry, when the food is ready, make yourself wait 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes and then you can eat the food. I know you're hungry. I know you're ready to gnaw your arm off. Just wait 10 minutes so that you can practice feeling hungry and having food in front of you and not just getting after the food. This sort of work is what has set me up for success. It is what makes it where I sleep at night, not worrying about whether I'm going to gain the weight back. I don't freak out when I have a bagel. I don't get all sad if I have a piece of cake, thinking, oh no, I'm gaining all my weight back. Because I know it's going to be fine. Because I can trust my hunger. And just like I have been working on listening for years, I have been working on hunger for years. I have mastered hunger far faster. I think of the two. For me, hunger has been easier to master. With the gift of gab, that one tends to be the other side. But I think I'm getting better. But the hunger part, I've gotten a lot better. Because you see, the listening, here's the catch. I can only practice when I have something to listen to that I could interrupt. Listening to a book is not a suitable substitute for listening to a person sitting in front of me talking. It's not a suitable substitute. I got to talk to a person and I got to have a reason to listen. So at first, I honestly just didn't have a lot of opportunities to practice. I didn't have enough of those types of interactions in my life that would benefit from that. I had some, sure, and I utilized them, yeah, but it wasn't every day. I could have a weekend and literally not talk to another person. I was single for a large part of the last 4 years. So hard to listen to somebody when there's no one to listen to. I was going through a pandemic. They're part of it. There really wasn't a lot of people to listen to. Whereas hunger, well, I got to practice that every day. Like multiple times a day, I could practice it. I could practice it first thing when I wake up. I could literally practice it every single hour throughout the day of just listening to what my hunger sounds like. How interesting. I was working on listening to other people and I got better at listening to myself. But, you take from that what you will. I could just practice waiting till I was hungry and then eating every day, multiple times a day. And I did. And I got really good at it because I did it a lot. Here, pull out a calculator. Let's just see. Let's just assume, for the sake of example, I did it for 365 days. I did it 2.5 times a day on average, we'll say. That's probably not high enough, but we'll say that. That means I practice it 912 times in a year. Well, let's do that by 3 years. We won't even do all 4. That's 2,737. So I can literally say I have practiced waiting till I was hungry and then eating easily over 2,500 times. It's probably more like 3,500. Think about that. That's a lot of reps. You can't do that fast. I've realized with fitness, I'm never going to catch up to my brother because unless I got on, steroids or something, I don't think I could just make up for 20 years of a head start. He's got a 20-year lead on me. I just don't think I'm going to catch him unless he decides to go backwards. And so, when it comes to the hunger, if you want to master this, you got to get started. If you haven't already gotten started working on hunger, today's a great day to start. Let me plead the case for right now. Let me plead the case for you to right now, from this moment forward, you will not eat a meal for the next, let's say, 2 weeks. Let's just do a little 2-week experiment. For the next 2 weeks, you will not eat a meal until you are certain you are hungry. Not like, I'm hungry. No, wait. Oh, I'm kind of hungry. I think I'm a little hungry. I'm feeling a little peckish. No, hungry. Well, I'm a little snacky. No, hungry. Well, but Chris, I think I'd like to have. Are you hungry? No. Well, then wait. Wait till you're hungry. That's how you get to know your hunger right there. You just wait. And you can start now. Start now. The best time to start was 5 years ago. Next best time is today. So just start now. You don't need to wait till Monday. You don't need to wait till an hour from now. Just start now. Say, this is what I'm doing. And until I decide consciously to do it otherwise, this is my new line in the sand. Just make the decision. It really is that simple to just make the decision. A commitment to yourself. You can change your mind in the future. That's okay. You'll probably have to make this decision 100 times. You'll probably have to decide to change, say fuck it a week later, then decide to change again, and then say fuck it or 2 weeks later, then recommit to changing, and then say fuck it 4 weeks later, and then recommit. Then, you just got to keep getting back up. You just keep recommitting. Every time you fall down, you just recommit and just move forward. Don't ever stop. You don't have to go fast as long as you won't quit. But if you plan to quit, well, you probably need to be in a hurry.